It is week 9 of the NFL season, and I am here to make my confidence picks for every game on the NFL schedule. Let's go. Well. Welcome back to New York Sports WickerMedia. I'm Watsu-K99. Thank you as always for taking the time to watch these videos. Reminder, we go live every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Join the party, join the fun. We always have a great time. Bring your caffeine, bring your alcohol, bring whatever you want to bring with you. But we're going to have a great time every single Wednesday. Shows just keep getting better and better. But it's a whole lot more fun when you're there too. All right, so we are going to get into our confidence picks. What we do, we pick every game on the NFL schedule. This week there are 14 games, so we will pick every game from 14 points down to 1 point, 14 points on the game we have the most confidence in, all the way down to 1 point, the game we have the least confidence in. And remember, we don't pick up against the spread, we pick winners. And here's how we did last week, week 8. Did pretty well, 11 up and 5 down, 104 points total. And for the season, we are 69 and 53 with our record. That's 647 points total. And on the ESPN website, we went up, got back up in the winning margin a little bit. We're in the 79.8 percentile. Got to climb over 80% this week for sure. Okay, so as we look at the schedule, this is one of the tougher weeks that I can remember trying to pick games. It feels like the great teams are playing the great teams, the mediocre teams are playing the mediocre teams, the struggling teams are playing the struggling teams. Not a whole lot of situations where you look at the matchup and say no-brainer. Then again, a lot of us, including me, thought that way about Chiefs and Broncos, and we're just going to have to shake that off. I know, everyone's used that joke now. All right, well, let's get into our picks. So my number 14 game, the game I've got the confidence in, the game that I predict is going to give me a victory, is the Arizona Cardinals at the Cleveland Browns. Welcome back, Deshaun Watson. But you know what? Even without Deshaun Watson, the Browns' offense has averaged 155 rushing yards in their last 3 games since the bye week. That's the best in the league. And as far as Arizona's run defense goes, they are allowing 130 rushing yards per game. That's the 8th most in the NFL. Now, Cleveland did lose to Seattle, but their defense really bounced back from that horrible game in Indianapolis. And a quarterback for Arizona, it is fully expected to be Clayton Tune. Kyler Murray's still a week away. And here's the thing with the Jim Schwartz coach defense. Against rookie quarterbacks since 2017, his teams are 5-0-1 against those rookie quarterbacks. And in those 6 games, they forced 9 turnovers, averaged almost 4 sacks per game. And Clayton Tune going against Myles Garrett, Dalvin Tomlinson, and the like. I'm taking the Browns at home. My number 13 game, the Chicago Bears at the New Orleans Saints. I guess it makes sense because if you look at the knockout pools, like 90+% of the picks are either Cleveland or New Orleans. So I'm going with the chalk there. Tyson Bagent's story will continue. Justin Fields will not play. As of right now, he's doubtful as of Friday afternoon, so I don't expect him in the lineup. If Fields was playing, I'd be tempted to think about an upset here. I'd think about it, but the Saints defense ranks 2nd in opposing passer rating and 3rd down percentage. They're also 5th in takeaways. So the Saints offense also got going a little bit last week against Indianapolis. And here's another thing with the Bears and their defense. They play a lot of zone. They play zone about 2/3 of the time. That's going to create some space underneath for Alvin Kamara to do some serious damage. Give me the Saints at home. All right, my number 12 game, the Seattle Seahawks and the Baltimore Ravens. This was, I don't know, this was a game where on the surface I feel like it should be very close. I just expect the Ravens to find a way, even though the game should be close. You know, Baltimore's victory last week against Arizona is not exactly what you would want to call inspiring. Now, Seattle, very opportunistic defense, just added some major help up front in Leonard Williams and Frank Clark. But here's the thing, they got to protect Geno, and I don't trust that the offensive line is going to be able to do that against the Baltimore front 7. Another thing with Seattle, they rank 2nd in penalties per game. A lot of pre-snap penalties. I think that's a problem when they go on the road, especially in Baltimore. And Seattle also ranks towards the bottom on third down on both offense and defense. And let's be honest, it's just tough to bet against Baltimore, period. So I'm going to take the Ravens with my number 12 pick. Number 11, the Indianapolis Colts at the Carolina Panthers. I'll take the Colts. I think, now this is really going to boil down to one thing. Does the Colts offense trust them to run? The offensive coordinator, will they trust the run game and not put the ball in the hands of Gardner Minshew, who is incredibly prone to turnovers? He has been turning the ball over a lot. They have got to trust Zach Moss and certainly Jonathan Taylor. Carolina is allowing 139 yards per game on the ground, fourth most in the league. And now, granted, the Colts defense not looking great, allowing 28 points per game. But against Bryce Young, the Panthers are coming off their emotional high from their first win last week. I think the Colts running game is too much in this one. All right, number 10, the Minnesota Vikings at the Atlanta Falcons. I'm taking Atlanta. Now, the winner of this game will be 5-4 and squarely in the NFC wildcard race. And this is going to be a game of backup quarterbacks. So, Jaron Hall will start at quarterback for Minnesota, not Josh Dobbs, even though Minnesota did acquire him. And Atlanta finally comes to their senses and realize what they should have been doing all along, and that's playing Taylor Heineke instead of Desmond Ridder. I'm taking the Falcons at home. All right, my number 9 game, the Tennessee Titans at the Pittsburgh Steelers. That game has obviously already happened. Apologize for the late one, but my voice was not doing well, so I got my breathe right on so that I can speak a little bit normally and not sound too nasally. But I did predict the Steelers with my number 9 pick initially. I just felt that Pittsburgh would get a good pass rush going, felt that would be enough. And Tennessee on the road in Pittsburgh on a short week I thought would be really, really difficult. And Pittsburgh did in fact win that game, so I got that 9 points in the bag. That feels good. My number 8 game, the Washington Commandskins at the New England Patriots. I'm taking New England. All right, not doing it with confidence. This is where it starts to get difficult for me. All right, Washington traded both their starting defensive ends. I think New England will either be very happy they caught Washington this week, or they are going to be very sorry that they caught Washington this week. The Washington defense was subpar to begin with, especially with the secondary. Now it's going to be really struggling because they've lost their pass rush. Now, the New England offense, they're averaging barely 15 points per game. Also, Kendrick Bourne out for the season. I think Demario Douglas or Ramondre Stevenson or Hunter Henry, they got to get going in this game. I think it's a very shaky pick. I'm just taking the Patriots at home. I think Washington's going to be a little bit demoralized after losing their 2 star pass rushers in Sweat and Young. My number 7 game is the New York Giants at the Las Vegas Raiders. I just don't think the Giants are in a good place mentally after that loss last week to the Jets. The Giants coaches are still whining in press conferences about officiating, about Will McDonald leaping the pile to nearly block Graham Gano's field goal. I don't think the Giants are in a good place. Now, I don't know which of these teams is a bigger mess right now. I mean, the Raiders just fired Josh McDaniels. I think it's the worst possible timing for the Giants. They hired Antonio Pierce, their linebackers coach. He was promoted, the ex-Giant. Very inspiring guy, very fiery, incredibly tough. You don't think he'll have the silver and black ready to go at home against his old team? Now, I know Aiden O'Connell is starting this game for the Raiders, rookie quarterback. I do worry about the Wink Martindale blitzes rattling him a little bit. I do worry about that, so expect a lot of Josh Jacobs, but also expect a lot of Max Crosby in the face of a returning Daniel Jones. A lot of these interim coaches, they tend to do pretty well. Look at Jeff Saturday, in that first game. So I'm going to take the Raiders at home. My number 6 game, the Los Angeles Chargers of San Diego at the New York Jets on Monday night. Tough one. This is one of those games, if you played it 10 times, I think each team would win at least 4, and then the other 2 are a toss-up. Now, here's my hope. The Jets defense does have a very good track record against top quarterbacks when they play at home. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts. I'm just too worried about the Jets offensive line. I mentioned this on my bold predictions video. There is not one Jet offensive lineman who will be playing this game in the same position that they played at week 1, or even week 2 for that matter. That worries me. Connor McGovern is out. Laken Tomlinson now iffy at best with a hamstring injury. Those 2 never missed a game going back to last season. Joe Tippmann may play, but the right side of the line is already composed of backups. I'm just very nervous. That's why I'm picking the Chargers also. They have a very good run defense, this San Diego, which I think is going to be a problem for Breece Hall. And they have quality pass rushers in Morgan Fox, Joey Bosa, and Khalil Mack. Another thing, the Jets, they've gotten some breaks in the last 2 games with kickers missing field goals. Cam Dicker has only missed 1 field goal all year for the Chargers, and it was 50 yards. It was over 50 yards. So I think the Chargers take advantage of a short field early. I just don't know if Zach Wilson's going to be able to overcome it. Hope I'm wrong. I don't think it's a long shot for the Jets to win. I'm just going with the Chargers, who need this game, I feel, a little bit more than the Jets do. All right, number 5, this is going to be the Buffalo Bills at the Cincinnati Bengals on Sunday Night Football. What a game that's going to be. Going to be a whole lot of fun. Buffalo's got the 3 extra days of rest. But you know what? Joe Burrow, he's getting hot. 78% completion percentage. 8 touchdowns to just 2 interceptions over his last 3 games. On the Bills side, Stephon Diggs has 5 100-yard receiving games this year. Outside of that, Khalil Shakir is a nice second wide receiver. He's starting to emerge as a good slot wide receiver. I think this game will come down to the wire. But it seems to me Joe Burrow is getting healthier. The Bengals are getting healthier, while Josh Allen and the Bills defense are getting more beat up. Allen will play, but his shoulder is bothering him from all accounts. Plus, Allen has thrown an interception in each of the last 4 games he's played. Now he goes up on the road against the Cincinnati defense that has forced 10 interceptions, 3rd most in the league. I'm taking the Bengals on Sunday Night Football. And then we get to the number 4 game in Germany Sunday morning at 9:30. The Miami Dolphins at the Kansas City Chiefs, or versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Oh, how blessed is Germany to get that game, right? And at the same time, how screwed over do the rest of us here in North America get? I feel sorry for the people on the West Coast who got to get up at 6:30 to watch this game. This game should have been Sunday night, Monday night, at worst 4:25. National TV, not the NFL Network, but it is what it is. The one thing I do like is that this game is going to be on a neutral field. I think that's going to make it pretty fun. But these quarterbacks, Tua and Patrick Mahomes, rank 1st and 3rd respectively in passing yards. And for the first time, this is the big storyline, Tyreek Hill goes up against his former team. I think I just like the Kansas City defense a little bit better than I do the Miami defense. It's a tough call. I know Miami has maybe the better skill position players, but I just like the KC defense. Also, Miami has a very banged up offensive line. And the other thing, Miami has not yet won a game this year against a team with a winning record. Tough call, but give me the Chiefs. I say they have the ball last. They win the game. Number 3, the LA Rams at the Green Bay Packers. Well, this game would have been fun about 3 years ago, right? Both teams are trying to fight their way back into the wild card mix. Rams at 3-5, Green Bay at 2-5. Packers have dropped 4 straight games. Matthew Stafford has a banged up hand, a UCL injury in his thumb, and he is not practicing yet. Latest report, he will be a game time decision. Now, Green Bay has gone 5 straight games without a first half touchdown. 5 straight games. That is the 2nd longest streak by a team in the last 10 years. And can you really imagine the Packers losing their 3rd straight home game on the not yet frozen tundra of Lambeau Field? I can't go there. I think Jordan Love to Christian Watson. I think that combination has a good day against the Rams' pass defense. Green Bay ends their losing streak. All right, 2 games left to go. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Houston Texans. Another tough one to call for me. Tampa Bay's dropped 3 in a row. That is one of the trademarks of a team coached by Todd Bowles. Now, I know they have a few extra days of rest, and their defense is they're very good at taking the ball away. 14 takeaways, 3rd most in the league this season. But C.J. Stroud is pretty good at protecting the ball. The thing is, he's taken 13 sacks in their 4 losses, in Houston's 4 losses, but just 2 sacks in their 3 victories. Dameon Pierce will not play in this game, but I do think that C.J. Stroud will be able to do enough. And really, I think that the Houston defense will do very well in this game. I think they're going to get a good pass rush between Grenard and Anderson and Hughes. I think they hit Baker Mayfield a little bit. Maybe the defense gets a score here. Tough one, but I like D'Amico Ryans more than I like Todd Bowles. That's what this is coming down to for me, so give me Houston at home. And finally, the number 1 game, the Dallas Cowboys at the Philadelphia Eagles. My God, there's so many great games this week. It's so cool. The Cowboys are quite the bully team, aren't they? When they win, they usually kill teams. Close games, it's very, very shaky. But I'm taking Dallas in an upset. I'll talk about why. Dallas, their defense is in a lot better shape than Philly's is in terms of health. Jalen Hurts still playing with an injured left knee. And the Cowboys traditionally have done very well against Hurts. They've held him to an average of 31 rushing yards in his last 2 games that he has played against Dallas. Also, Dak Prescott is very, very good when he plays NFC East teams. In 35 starts against the NFC East, he has 61 touchdowns to 19 interceptions. And another thing, Dallas is very good against the passing game. They have not allowed more than 86 yards in a game this year to an opposing wide receiver. I think Philly, they're going to be the last team to lose that one-loss mark that they have. They're the only one-loss team left. I say Dallas takes this game on the road in Philly. Bit of an upset, but I'm putting it as my number 1 pick, the game I've got the least confidence in. All right, those are my picks. Let me see yours. Put them right down there in the comments. Do you have any upset specials, any games you feel particularly confident about? I look forward to seeing what you have to say. Thanks, everybody, for joining me, and I'll see you right back here with more content from you know where, the Wicker Chair.